And now back to the top. Hi, my name is Fernando Monariva. I'm your host. I'm the one that's gonna present this channel. Uh, First of all, it's a learn magic channel. I'm your host. I'm the one that's gonna teach you how to do this. It's a long story. Um, it's a lot to study, but at the end, you end up a magician. It depends on how you practice and how you study. Everything starts with the piano. Everything. You have to control the devices. You have to control the piano. Where does magic begin? Magic begins with a lie that your fingers exist. What does that mean? First, you have to study the piano. Become a piano player. You have to know all your keys, you have to know all to read, you have to become a jazz piano player. Once you become a jazz piano player, you can study this. Dices. This is what you have to study. Dices. This cubic thing, this is what you have to control. See, dices, I'm a crab dealer in the casino. I work in the casino. I'm a crab dealer. I did a study, and I'm more than honored to teach you my study of what the study is. There are a lot of spectacles, there are different point of views, there are different things. And at the end, this is what you're going to study. Piano is just a tool. Piano is just a tool. It's just you have to be a very mechanical person, and you have to see it very mechanically. This is mechanics. A very creative mechanic, but mechanics. You have to become a person, a piano player. You have to learn to read. You have to learn the scales. You have to learn all the chords and all the things that you have to study to learn to improvise. Based on my study, back me a crab dealer at the casino, I learned and I studied that who more you practice the piano, who more you improvise, is who more control you have on top of dices. This thing called dices. These ones. These dices, you have to learn to control them. How you do that? First of all, the study is a study based on a witch hunt story. It's a movie based in the 80s, so far understood. I don't remember the dates exactly. It's a witch hunt story, and if you see the witch hunt story of the movie, the name is The Witch Hunt of Emily Rose. During the witch hunt, she did a lot of things, but if you see the movie, you are going to understand that you have to study piano and you have to be a sport person. I used to be a windsurfer. In that sense, there's a huge difference between Emily Rose and I. The base of the story of Emily Rose is that she did certain things during the witch hunt. It's all mind power, power of the mind. Yeah, you can name it a lot of things. It's a lot of point of view in that sense, good and bad, and you name it. But my way of seeing it, was the difference between me and the witch hunt of Emily Rose is that I am a jazz piano player. I study piano in a very creative way. It's a very difficult way because you have to learn the instrument. This is not like music school that you study songs. No. For you to become a magician, the lie starts with improvising. It's a lie that your hands and fingers exist. You just think something, and while you're thinking it, you hear it. So you're playing, and what you're playing is what you're thinking. You can sing it also, but even if you sing it, don't say it loud, just say it in your mind. But what you're singing in your mind is what you're listening. That's where magic begins. You have to control the piano. You have to learn the piano. You have to learn to improvise. Once you learn to improvise and you become, let's say, decent with it, besides knowing your instrument, you have to know all the scales, all the chords. You have to see the music sheet. The music sheet. This. You have to see it literally like an E flat minor 7 flat 5. You just see the chord. If you see the real book, you see what's written on top. That's the chord. Once you see the chord, you have to just automatically, okay, now this note, A7, okay, this note, or let's say B7 flat 5. Once you see that on the paper, on the lead sheet, you have to just play it randomly. because you're improvising. Those notes has to become a second instinct. You have to control and domain the piano. You have to become a person that can improvise. Back to the Witch Hunt of Emily Rose. The difference between she and I is that I am a jazz piano player. She is a classical piano player. She memorized everything. Me, without the paper, I cannot play. Because I study to dismantle the paper. I study to destroy this, reassemble it, redestroy it, reassemble it, and it's a fact of destroying it, how beautifully I can do it, and how intricately I can do it. That's a jazz piano player. It's something with your heart, it's something with your soul. Jazz is a way of expressing yourself. This become a canvas. This music paper become a canvas. And you have to see it like that. Once you control the piano, once you are a jazz piano player and you start improvising and you become a jazz piano player, then you can start studying dices. This. Dices. Once you have control on dices, you have to study it and practice it like a sport. And it is that what it is. You have to practice it and study it like a sport. The improvising of that sport is magic. Because first of all, is the piano. You have to become a jazz piano player. You have to learn to improvise. Once you are a jazz piano player and you learn to improvise, you have to stop studying dices. That's mind control. Everything starts with a lie that your hand and fingers exist. That's how it starts. Then you study this. Don't study dices without studying piano. The Witch Hunt of Emily Rose. This is what is based on. This is what I study. And for me, it's an honor to teach you. For me, it's an honor to share my knowledge. This is something that you can go to a hospital and cure people. This is something you can do harm with it if you want to do it bad things with it. But if you want to do good things with it, man, the world is a wonder. First of all, you have to study the piano. You have to become a jazz piano player. Back to the paper. Let's say what? F sharp minor 7. When you play the song, you see F sharp minor 7. This means you have to see the piano like a light. You know, red light, green light, yellow light. Like a stop light. That's how you see this. You see a chord, okay, now I can play this note and there's those notes. When you see a chord, you know, of chords and scales is the same thing, same note. The C sharp minor 7 is the same notes as C sharp minor 7 chord and C sharp minor 7 scale. It's the same chord. There are books dedicated completely in chords, and there are books dedicated completely in scales. You have to study both. Why? Because when you see the chord on the paper, it becomes like a minefield. Now I can play these notes, now I can play those notes, now I can play this, now I can play that. That you have to master it. You have to master the piano. After you master the piano, then you can study dices. This is a whole completely study on its own. It's a whole completely different point of view. It's a whole completely different thing. I'm your host. I'm honored to give you all my lessons. I'm honored to give you all my knowledge. It's a very mechanical way to see the piano. Why? Because this study is not based on songs. I didn't study songs like classical music, the difference between me and Emily. She's a classical piano player. I have an enormous respect And I admire how they play, but all based on memory. Not me. I all based on memorizing books, books, memorizing. If you tell me play the song that I just played, I cannot do that. Give me the paper and play it, because I studied to dismember it. This becomes karate. This becomes your UFC. This becomes your martial art, because you study skills, and when you play songs and you're gonna improvise, you're gonna use those skills that you study in your improvisation. Back to mathematics. Mathematical, mechanical. Let's put it that way, mechanical. You have to become a person that's very mechanical. And music, mechanical is good, but on the other hand, if you play too mechanical, you can see it. That's why they say you have to sing. When you're improvising, you have to sing. It's right, it's the truth. But don't say it with your mouth. Sing in your mind. La 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 blah 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 blah. Sounds beautiful because you're a piano player. It's a study that can do a lot of things. First of all, and secondly, it's a new study. I devoted my life to study that. I had a lot of problems because of that too, but that's another story. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to explain to you how that I did it. And it's just what I told you. Piano starts with a piano. Your hands and fingers, your fingers doesn't exist. You're just playing, jamming, and you're playing what you're thinking. Once you become a jazz piano player, and once you can improvise, you can start studying dices. This, dices. Once you study dices, you can do other things. There's a lot of things you can do once you control dices. You can apply it to a million things. You become a magician. But first of all, you have to be a jazz piano player. Then, after jazz piano player, you start practicing the dices as a sport, because it is a sport. The improvisation of the sport is magic. I'm honest with you, man. I was working in a casino. Back then I started with the roulette. I used to be the roulette dealer, the roulette dealer. I started as a roulette. I went to school to study roulette. And then I went to the casino and worked. Then I saw the movie on the TV. They used to, Radio Caracas Televisión, every Halloween they have it. And then I remember my brother used to have the DVD too. So I remember I saw the movie. Then I was at the crap table one night. So from the roulette, they sent me over to the crap table. And that's how it started. I just look around me. And I say my father was a drummer. My family is fabulous musicians. So I can do it. And that's what I did. And what was just one night standing at the crap table. I saw the movie before. And that's how the journey began. And now I'm honored again to teach you and tell you everything what I know. There's a lot of stuff that you can do that at the end is one scale. It is one scale, you can do anything. One scale, you can do anything. But that one skill is magic. Magic is the improvisation of the dice. Witch Hunt of Emily. Witch Hunt of Emily. You have to watch the movie for you to understand and see what a priest can do with a person. That's first of all. And secondly, she's a piano player. But a classical piano player. dice. This is what you have to control. This is what has to become your sport. How you do this? Piano. It's all in the piano. You have to become a jazz piano player, piano flawless. First of all, like what I told you, I mean, it's an honor for me to teach you. Everything started way in '98, I believe, something like that. I was working in the casino, and I just stand at the crap table, and I saw the movie, and the rest, it's an honor to teach. Mechanically, you have to see the piano based on 22 books. I have them here. It's 22 books. Scales, harmony, scales, and this way of practicing, of this way of studying, is all about scales. Real book is what you use. Real book is what you use to apply those skills. Once you master that, you can start studying. It's all about learning the instrument, not songs. Instrument. So once you see F sharp major 7, hey dude, you know it exactly. You know, it's like a lighting board. Those lights turn on and those lights turn off. That's how you have to master this, and you have to do it randomly because it's all over the face. Improvising. The jazz piano, it's called Hanons, all the Hanons, I have them here. And that's another video, but this is just the introduction. I'm waiting for some stuff. I ordered some stuff from the internet. First of all, the ship crashed in Miami. Now the ship is again in Jamaica. They're doing engine things, and I don't know what happened, but it's on the way. I have to explain you how to teach, how to learn and study those 22 books. You have to learn to improvise. Real book. There are easy real books right now, so you don't need to learn a lot of chords, because there are real books of 4 chords or 5 chord songs, even 3 chord songs. I saw it on the internet, easy real book. So you don't need to start like what I did, straight to the Mount of the Lion, straight to the real book. No, nowadays you have easy real book. So it's songs of 3, I saw one of 3 chords or 4 chord songs or 5 chord songs. That's more than enough for you to start. So you get a song, those 3 or 4 chord songs, you study those chords and those scales, so both of them same thing, same notes, same instrument, and then you play the song and you start improvising. You can start as easy as that. But later on, you have to learn the instrument better, because the more intricate you become, the better jazz piano player you become a better magician. Once you study dices, you cannot stop studying the piano. Both of them goes together, hand in hand. It goes hand in hand. I noticed at the crap table, when I how you say it, I stop practicing for like a week, I see a go backwards. I don't have so much control on dice. You have to understand that. That's simple, that's what it is. Once you study dice, you cannot stop studying piano. Simple. The real book is like martial arts. You study scales, and when you go sparring, or you call it in Dutch sparring, when you go to fight of training, you apply what you study. This is the same thing. It's music, but with a point of view of martial arts, jazz, but a very creative martial art. Because this is the basics. And this is the video is all about the basics. Dices, as I have said it, you're going to notice it. There are different games, there are crap games, There's a game called Mens Erfgeniet. It's a Dutch game. I will suggest you to buy it and practice it. You have to learn to throw dices and practice dices. Dices, back to these jewels, because they're jewels. Back to these jewels, they're called razor edge dice, 99 millimeters. That's what you have to study with. That's the dices that you need. I'm not saying no to wooden dices, and I don't say no to plastic dices. I don't say no to anything of that. But because I work in a casino, and I'm a crap dealer, and I study with these dices, I study with these things, these jewels, and I will suggest you to do the same. These ones, razor edge dices, 90 millimeters. These are the casino dices. Those are the ones that I will suggest you to study because I study with those. Simple. Dice games, like what I said, there's a lot of dice games, but I don't like dice games with cards. I like more the Mens Erfgeniet. People don't get Erfgeniet, don't get desperate, and something like that. But Mens Erfgeniet, I will suggest you to buy it and play it because it's all about the action. It's all about the action. Why? What I call action is when you throw the dices, when you throw them, and they're rolling. That's where your focus has to be. It's like when a person kick a ball and throw it in a stupid goal. His focus is the ball in the goal. That's the same thing with this. The focus is when they're rolling. How to combine piano and dices. Like what I said before, the scales, you cannot stop practicing the piano. You cannot stop doing that. You have to continue practicing, practicing. Who more you practice the piano, who more you're going to see it on the dices. Who more you practice the piano, who more you're going to be a controller. You have the domain. They're your field. They're your domain. You can do anything you want with it. It's something that's is the dopamine of a sport person. You know, when you reach the finish line, you go, yippee, I did it. It's the same thing. Now it's 7, now it's 6, now, hey, dude, boom, I did it because I can't do it. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to teach you. I'm here to teach you. It's a long story. You have a lot to study, but at the end, you become a magician. You become a santero. You can become a person that goes to places and cure people. But first of all, there's the improvisation of the sport, dice sport. And the dice sport is thanks to improvisation of the piano. Hands and fingers doesn't exist. You just think a melody and you listen to it. That's how it starts. You have to become a jazz piano player. Nowadays you can get all the books. My study is based on 22 books. I got them here, right here. But that's another video. Beginner magician basics. That's topic number 9. Beginner magician basics. Well, as a beginner magician, you have to study dices, first of all. And secondly, you're going to see it. Now come a 5, now come a 6, now come a 7, now come a 9, now come a 5 and 2. You're going to see that you're going to have more and more control on what you're doing, on what you want to do, control dices. It's all about the lie that the hands and fingers doesn't exist. Beginner magic? Well, that's another story, because you have to make the dice a sport first. It becomes a sport. And then you start improvising based on that sport. But it starts slowly. It's just like when you start studying piano, you start slowly, and then you put your hands on the piano, and you start knowing the piano. The piano is brightening. The piano is literally, blind people, they don't see anything. But they touch, and they can read newspapers, they can read books based on those brightening. Piano is the same thing, but that's another video. 3 and 2. You just touch the piano, okay, this is 3. The one over here is an A, the one in the middle is a G, completely down is an F, and completely up is a B. And those 3 blacks, let's say F sharp, G sharp, and let's say B flat, or A sharp, whatever. Those things, they have one note different names, or different keys, flat or sharp. Back to, you have to know the instrument. You have to know your craft. Beginner magic is when you leave the table, when you leave dices. It's when you start doing things. But again, that's what I said. It starts the same thing as the piano, slowly. It becomes gigabyte and megabyte. You have to see your brain just as a machine that can process information. This is all about information. And who more you control the dices, who better you become in a magician. So first you can do small tricks, small things, and then you can do bigger things. Who more you practice the dices, and who more you train them, you practice it, the sport, who more you become, who more better improvisator you become when you are improvising based on the skills of dices as a sport. That's what you have to study. That's what you have to do. That's what I did. And I'm honored to teach you. I'm honored to teach you. Magic basics, like what I say, is this where it started. When you go out of the dices. Piano, dices, magician. Yeah, magic basics is when you pass the area, or you pass the line. So from here to there, there's a piano, from here to there, there's a crap table, of dices, of men's that you need. And from here to there, you're an illusionist. You can do a show, you can make a magic show, you can do anything, not anything you want, because at the end it's all about gigabyte and how much information you can process. To do that, you have to practice. Simple. Magic basics, that's what it is. But you start getting out of the dices and do things. At the end of this one skill, piano, dices as a sport, and the improvisation from the sport is magic. But at the end, it's one skill. But that one skill, you can do anything you want with it. Magic can become a weapon, but again, black magic and white magic, both of them are the same magic. The only one is you go and you cure someone. You go to a hospital, you can cure a person. Or you go to a place and you kill a person. But it is one skill. It is one skill. You can do anything. That's why I have to see this as something for serious person. Honestly, I study to go to the hospital and cure people. Because I see myself as a social worker. I can go to places and cure people. Because I can do that. I'm a magician. And I'm honored to teach you. It is a weapon, yes. You can, it's just like martial arts. If you tell a Shaolin to beat the hell or beat the shit out of a person, he can do it. If you tell Krav Maga to beat the crap of a person, he can do it. Because that's what he studied for. In my case, I study more to help. But still you can use it as a weapon, a way to defend yourself. But that's another story. let's not go so far. It's another story. You can make lists and appear things, but that's more advanced. You can go up to the levels where you can start appearing things. I don't see it, but you see it. But if I see it, it's real. It's dimensions and all those kind of stuff. That's interesting, but it's another story. Um, you have to believe in yourself. It's all about you. I practice, I study, I did this, I did that, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to practice, I have to study every day. I used to practice when I was, it's very addictive, by the way. This study, when you start controlling the dices, you become an addiction. Why? Because the dopamine of a sport person. Hey, dude, now come a six. Boom, a six. Hey, dude, now come a nine. Boom, a nine. Hey, dude, now come a seven. Boom, a seven. And you become very happy, like any sports person, and it becomes very addictive. In a sense, it's the best drug ever because it's a drug based on sport, but a sport that's all about you. It's all about you, not about TV and anything of those things. It's all about you. You're gonna be, yeah, you I did it. That's what you need. Help yourself. Um, they call it apoyar. You have to support yourself because at the end, when you are going to control the dices, it's a very nice emotion. It's a sport. You're going to go, yeah, man, I did it because I did it. That is where you're going to be an addicted. You're going to be an addict because you want more, 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 more. It's something serious, but it's nice to be able to do these things. You have to see the brain. Left side, your creative mind. Right side, marca tempo, marking time. This side is just like a snake. The Discovery Channel illustrated it as a spring. You can see it like that, but that's another story. You have to learn to mark time. I did it. I studied. Me. Not he or he. No, you. Start valuing yourself. It's more self-esteem because I have to practice. I did it. I practice. I have a goal in my mind. I want to become a magician. I want to help people. I want to go to hospitals to cure people. I have a goal in my mind. And that goal is all about practice and all about you. Remain humble. This is one of the most beautiful gifts that there is. Remain humble. Relax, chill. Um, you're gonna be. It's remain humble is the truth. You have to be humble. But once you start studying the dices and you get hungry, you become hungry. It's a hunger that the more you practice the dices, the more control you have, the more you want to control it, the more you want to do anything you want with it. Anything you want. That's the sport. You have to become a jazz piano player. You have to learn to improvise. Once you are a jazz piano player, or at least you start playing it and have fun with it, you can start practice piano. But don't practice you just practice dices. So once that's what I said, they are easy readable, 3 or 4 chord sounds. Once you start having fun with it, having fun with it, and especially your right hand. Your right hand. That is what You have to study your right hand. Your right hand. Dice control, it's okay. You become a dice controller. Dice is a sport. Once you're in that level, dice has become a sport. Once dice has become a sport, you become an illusionist, a magician, beginner. And after that, you have the illusionist. Your ultimate goal is an illusionist. And that's the basics. And that's what I have for you right now. Again, it's an honor to give you this. It's an honor to teach you. I'm honored in doing this. Thank you, and I'll see you later.